greater collaboration between nations, whether it's intelligence sharing. I mean, all of that stuff is going on.
It is.
But you know, the nature of terror has changed as well. It's not just state-sponsored terror anymore. It's not just about, 100, 200 casualties, but they're going after larger numbers. They've got access to new sources of funding. In that scenario, what can we do at a government-to-government level?
You know, the cooperation right now is extraordinary. It is. We are seeing unprecedented cooperation among the world's intelligence services and law enforcement organizations. Let me say that again. We're seeing unprecedented cooperation among intelligence services and law enforcement organizations worldwide. Even among governments that politically may be at odds at times, there's still a great deal of cooperation. That can get better, and it has to be made even better. I mean, Europe right now is having a problem with sharing information within Europe. As a consequence of not sharing information, what is happening is border controls are coming back to Europe. The European project is being derailed little by little because of the reluctance of governments to share information. So that is something that we have to address, so we can do that. So cooperation will go up. Are we becoming smarter about how the terrorists communicate and learning more about that? Yes, we are. Are there some things where perhaps government would like to do things that we as a society may decide, no, we'll take the risk instead? You know, the battle about encryption. Okay. What's very, very interesting is a lot of the communications are not on the internet. They're not on a telephone. The word conspiracy comes from the Latin to breathe together. What happens when they whisper? You know, the intelligence services don't have a machine to deal with that. So it means we're going to have to get smarter about human intelligence. I mean, we used to do that. Now it's all high tech. We can do things to adjust to still maintain an advantage. They have the advantage of being agile. They have the advantage of being willing to kill wantonly. I mean, people say, well, training. We're coming back from Syria with training. To shoot diners at a restaurant does not take advanced military training. It may require cold blood, but it's not a military challenge. So, as I say, we will address that. Governments will address that. But governments ought not to be in the business of alarming their citizens. And citizens ought not to be in the business of being too easily alarmed. And you mentioned tensions over these issues. There should be tensions. People say, well, we have to resolve this. My view is, well, there should be a lot of tension here. We should be debating and arguing as a society. You know, we're having this debate now about terrorists going dark. Yes, that's a debate. Can't have that debate in the dark. We should be cantankerous as possible about every one of these new measures, because that's going to preserve.
But is it possible to have a cantankerous debate in an atmosphere of fear? Because if there's an even remotely dissenting opinion or a dissenting voice, you're seen as anti-national. It's happening here in the U.S., it's happening in India as well.
You ought not to worry about that. I mean, I have some kind of a West Coast anarchist about this. Government is that thing there, and you want to watch it carefully because, look, yes, you can, and people ought not to be intimidated. One, they ought not to be alarmed, and they ought not to be intimidated to raise their voices about these issues. Now, I'm not saying be unrealistic. As I say, I have a reputation for being very tough on terrorists. But being tough on terrorists does not mean we're going to destroy our society to deal with this. We can handle this problem without destroying our democracies. Now, is it a challenge? Yeah, this is the battle that we've been having for the last several decades, and this is going to be the challenge of the 21st century. And that is because of these technological advances, because of vulnerabilities in our society, because of terrorist tactics, again, power defined crudely, is coming into the hands of smaller and smaller groups. Dealing with that in a democracy and remaining a democracy is the major challenge we have going forward.
You know,
and I'm optimistic.
You're optimistic. Let me ask you why you're optimistic today. And you made certain assumptions, way back in the 1970s on how you actually would see this play out. But as you stand here today, one, you're optimistic. B, there's all of these technological changes that we now have to deal with and governments will have to grapple with. Then you've got these tensions that are playing out, on how much the state should control and how much risk we should abolish and what that would fundamentally do to us as a society. Where do you see the next 10 to 20 years?
I think that this debate is central to the debate that, I'm going to try to say this right, that how we deploy this new technology, how we respond to this new technology, and its consequences for society is where the debate is going to be for the next 20 years, for the foreseeable future. I'm just convinced that in a democracy which allows so many diverse views, that in effect that will allow everyone to, in a sense, innovate and become a participant in this, that is our basic strength in this going forward.
Well, and that
if you believe in democracy, you have to believe in that. I mean, it's almost ideological. You say, if I believe that people have the right to vote, the right to select who governs them, the right to select the course of action, then you have to have confidence that those people ultimately, they don't get there in a straight line. They occasionally do really stupid things, and their governments sometimes do terrible things. But if you can preserve that basic democracy, you can keep this thing upright. I fundamentally believe that. I have confidence in people's courage. I have confidence in people's tolerance. I have confidence in people's sense of community. I believe that we're a lot tougher than we think we are.
I think that's all that we should be focusing on. A lot more is a sense of community and courage and tolerance. But Brian Jenkins, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us here at TICON, and thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special from all of us here. Goodbye. Many thanks for watching.